I want to talk today about something that doesn't come up very often in rational emotive behavior therapy, at least not explicitly, and that is the suprarational. REBT is often described as rational, cognitive, or even skeptical of experiences that feel deeply meaningful, mysterious, or difficult to put into words. But that description misses something important. REBT is not opposed to depth. It is opposed to unexamined beliefs, and that distinction matters, especially in psychotherapy. Let me start with a non-religious example. I remember the first time I heard Samuel Barber's Adagio for strings. I was driving, and I had to pull my car over. The music affected me deeply. There was a strong emotional response, and I remember tears coming up. What stood out, though, wasn't overwhelm. It was a sense of being held, of calm rather than agitation. I didn't draw conclusions from it. I didn't try to explain it. I noticed the experience, allowed it to be what it was, and then kept going. That is a suprarational encounter. When I use the term suprarational, I'm not talking about something irrational. That distinction is crucial. The irrational violates logic, reality testing, or leads to unnecessary suffering. The suprarational refers to experiences that exceed rational explanation without contradicting it. They are not arguments. They are not beliefs. They are encounters. Music is one example. Art is another. Moments of awe, grief, beauty, or moral clarity often fall into this category. These experiences can be deeply meaningful without making claims about what must be true, and REBT has no problem with that. From an REBT perspective, the experience itself does not need to be disputed. What matters is what a person tells themselves about the experience afterward. Let me give a second example. A friend of mine had a partner who was dying. One of the simple things they loved to do together was feed squirrels. It was ordinary, gentle, and deeply relational. As his partner was nearing death, he said something like, "If there's anything after this, I'll try to send you a sign that I'm okay, and I'll do it through squirrels." There was no doctrine attached to that, no metaphysical argument, just shared meaning. During the funeral mass, squirrels were visible running across the glass portion of the ceiling. My friend noticed them immediately. Later, he said the experience was comforting beyond words. He wasn't claiming proof of an afterlife. He wasn't asserting certainty. He was describing an encounter with meaning that helped regulate grief and preserve connection. From an REBT perspective, the question is not whether the squirrels meant something in an ultimate sense. The question is what beliefs the experience supported, and whether those beliefs helped him function, grieve, and live. Now let me give an example where things become much more concerning. I once met with an individual who was deeply religious. During prayer, she had a strong sense that God did not want her to take medication for a serious medical condition. What mattered clinically was not the experience itself, it was what followed from it. She believed that because she had this encounter, it guaranteed she would be fine without the medication, and that taking the medication would be an act of disobedience to God. At that point, the issue is no longer spirituality. The issue is that meaning has hardened into certainty, and certainty has become dangerous. From an REBT perspective, we don't need to decide whether the experience was genuine. What we do need to address is the belief that a subjective experience guarantees a medical outcome, and that obedience requires ignoring evidence, consultation, and care. That is where the suprarational crosses into irrationality, not because it is religious, but because it has become absolutistic, rigid, and harmful. REBT does not ask clients to abandon faith. It does insist that beliefs, however meaningful, remain accountable to reality, consequences, and human fallibility. So how does REBT do this well? First, phenomenological respect. REBT allows clients to describe experiences fully. No disputing, no minimizing, no ridicule. Second, epistemic humility. Therapy does not need to settle metaphysics or theology. It needs to explore meaning and impact. Third, and this is the REBT contribution, belief discipline. We examine whether meaning has turned into demand, whether mystery has turned into certainty, whether experience has been given authority it cannot responsibly hold. REBT does not attack meaning. It protects people from what meaning can become when fused with absolutism. Finally, REBT supports meaning without metaphysical inflation. Experiences can matter. They can inform values, they can comfort, without needing to prove anything, without needing to guarantee anything. Meaning belongs to people. Authority belongs to roles, and care requires that we do not confuse the two. REBT does not flatten the human experience. It protects it by ensuring that mystery does not become demand and meaning does not become a weapon against oneself. The suprarational can be honored, beliefs can be examined, and clients can remain free. That is good psychotherapy.